gon' call me Jiggy when I'm home, then call me Snowman here. We ain't never home, but treat the city like the base, yeah. You know where to look if you're looking for the wave, yeah. Looking for the...
Welcome back to EuroSteppin podcast, where we get another interview from a great player that comes over to Europe and puts up numbers, where we can hear his experiences, culture shocks, and stories that he might have while being over here. I'm your host, Big Dave, here with my co-hosts.
Al Snow, what up, y'all?
Snow bad, man. How's everything going in Seattle? It's been a minute.
Man, you know what? Clear blue skies. It's beautiful out here on the West Coast.
First of all, you're in Seattle, so can't really just claim the whole West Coast, but you know. And if it's sunny out there, that is a positive because normally it rains.
Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
10 months out the year.
Watch your mouth. You gotta relax.
Snowman, we got one for us, man. We got a certified bucket getter.
That's a fact.
We have a Turkish Cup winner, a Spanish Super Cup winner, a Spanish Super Cup MVP, all NBA D-League first team, NBA D-League All-Star, Italian Super Cup winner, third team All-American, ACC Player of the Year, first team All-ACC, second team All-ACC, NCAA season scoring leader. And everybody know how hard it is to get buckets in college to be in the scoring league. So welcome, Erick Green, man. We appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks for being a guest here. Man, just appreciate it.
I appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate you guys for having me, man. Looking forward to doing this, man. Excited to be on here.
Erick, let's jump into some of your story, man. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing, because what I see is you were born on the West but moved to the East pretty quickly. What was that about, man?
Man, my mom is from Inglewood, California. So her whole family, her side of the family is from Inglewood. So I was over there for about a good year and a half, 2 years, and then we moved to Washington, D.C., stayed there for a little bit, and then we moved to a small town in Virginia called Winchester, Virginia, where I was really raised and spent majority of my whole life in that little city. And, that's where I, learned how to, score and get buckets and start my whole career out that way.
Talk to us a little bit about, because we've interviewed some other folks from that area, and they talk a lot about PG County, this, that, and the third, and them being the nicest in this hoop thing. I don't know if we're giving them all that. So I need you to kind of tap in and let me know where you're at with that and how you feel about the movement that you guys all have up that way.
No, honestly, man, it was for real. Like when I got to high school, man, I started playing up in the DC area a lot more. And I actually transferred from Winchester to DC to play in that the PBI, WCAC, which they say is one of the best high school conferences in the whole country. Right. But I agree, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. PG County got some of the best top hoopers in the whole country. The basketball world out there is crazy. DC, Maryland, Virginia, that DMV area. There's a lot of good bump, a lot of good AAU programs. A lot of good hoopers in the summertime. We get some good bump and good wrecking. And I gotta agree, man. I think it's definitely one of the top areas to go play basketball for sure.
Yeah. Whatever.
I'm always claim Houston.
And I'm always claim Seattle. So
I ain't mad at that. You gotta rep where you from. I definitely ain't mad at that.
Yeah.
So tell me, man, in your time doing that, who are some of the premier guys you faced in your time just growing up around your area? And when you talk about bump, can you talk about some of the guys you had to bump into yourself?
Yeah, when I was growing up, I think we had, Victor Oladipo, who was there. We played AAU together. Quentin Cook, growing up playing against him. Nolan Smith. Man, there's a lot. Kendall Marshall at that time was like one of the rated number one kid in the country for a while. Tyler Thornton went to Duke. Josh Harrison went to Duke. Rodney Magruder, plays for the Clippers. Thomas Robinson. There's a lot of guys, man, who I ran into. That played in the NBA, who had the NBA tag. Grievous Vasquez, all them dudes, man, that we got a chance to play against growing up. But like I said, man, like going up there, getting respect from that DMV area, definitely DC, Maryland area. If you can gain respect up there, man, you can definitely, earn your way and have a big name, because those are where some real hoopers are at up that way.
And that's why I wanted to ask that question. What I was trying to get to was I was trying to establish pedigree, right? And there's something to be said for somebody who's constantly facing elite level competition and what that breeds. Can you talk about what that did for you specifically?
Yeah, honestly, man, like I said, I came from a small town. So, like, honestly, I can tell you the truth. I used to live next to a farm. So, for me, it was like I'm a little country boy, So, for me to go out of my way to travel an hour and a half to go up there, to earn my respect, and man, it was tough at first. I'm not gonna lie to you, because people didn't know who I was. I'm going at them guys talking trash to me, saying you don't belong up here and stuff like that. So when I had to transfer high schools to go up that way to play in the WCAC, like that's when I really gained people's respect playing AAU, for team takeover, and just like I said, playing in that whole area against DeMatha, Bishop O'Connell, Montrose, them top schools. And making the name, battling every night, that made a huge difference. And then I had to go back to my small town, and it was kind of like easy. So that just playing against that bump, man, made my confidence sky high, and then I just felt like I could take off from there if I can compete with those guys.
So basically, in your small town, what you're telling me is it was a waste of time to play against those guys.
I had to transfer, man. Let me just say that. I'll keep it like that. I had to transfer. It was better competition up that way in DC, Maryland area.
So fast forward, you go on to college, you get to cooking. When I say cooking, Dave touched on it earlier. Number one scorer in the country. What's that like? I can't say that I've ever done it. So what's that like?
Honestly, man, we didn't have social media like that. We had Twitter, and Instagram was just starting to blow up, so it wasn't really like, it wasn't like how it would be now. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it was cool. But the only bad part was we were losing. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was getting a lot of recognition from scoring and making a name for myself. But it kind of sucks, like when you're not winning. You know what I mean? You putting up all these points, but you ain't winning. I never got a chance to experience the NCAA tournament. I wish I got a chance to do that, but at the end of the day, man, it helped me.
Yeah.
On this show, I like to call timeout sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Typically, when I call timeout, it's when I'm sensing a little bit of bullshit, bro.
Nah.
So listen, I feel you. You wanted to go to the tournament. That's all our dream.
Mm-hmm.
But can you tell me the real, like, were you actually like, you know what? I'm going to keep getting these buckets.
Oh, for sure. I'm never gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie. I went into every game, to be honest with you, man. Like when we played Duke, Carolina, like I wanted to kill them. Like I wanted to let everybody know, like I couldn't be stopped. And that was just my mentality when I approached the game. And that's still my mentality now. My mentality now when I play the game, it's like I just feel like I can't be stopped. And that's just how I approach the game, how I've always approached it. But in college, I just felt like once I started, putting up 25s and 30s. I was just like, wow, I'm like, I could really play this game. I could really score this thing. So it was good.
Is college when you realized that you was a great scorer?
In high school I could really score too. But honestly, my freshman year, man, I only scored average 2 points.
Yeah,
like
you struggled your freshman year. And I see
I struggled.
You stayed in the gym like that whole summer, that whole next year, you came back.
Yeah, man. I really
about that. How did you was college something different than what you expected your freshman year, or what was your mindset? What went on?
I think just
like you, why 2 points? I guess is the question.
I think for like any kid coming from high school to college, like I think you go to college and do what you did in high school. Like I'm gonna run it up, but then you realize like I had like Malcolm Delaney who could really score. I had Jeff Allen, like those guys had big names in the ACC, first team, second team, all ACC. So, I had to take a back seat to Malcolm, and I learned a lot from him. But at the same time, I was just like, man, like I was struggling. I think I won like 14 games. I was scoring a point. So it was like my confidence was low, man. It was awful, man. I was getting emails and stuff like he was a waste of a scholarship. You know what I mean? Like, so it was kind of like hurt. It hurt my feelings. But I just got in the gym. My pop used to always be on me like, man, you gotta work. Like this ain't gonna come easy. This ain't high school. You playing in the ACC, the top conference in the country. You gotta work. So I really put in a lot of work. Every summer got better. I think I went to like 10 points my sophomore year, then 15 my junior year, and then my senior year. You know, I remember going after my junior year in the summertime. I remember like just staying in the gym. I like lived in the gym, man. And just that senior year, I felt like I couldn't be touched, to be honest with you.
It looked like it.
Yeah.
It looked like it. 25 ain't easy in college.
Nah, definitely not. Definitely playing the ACC. It was tough.
So after doing your 4-year stint at Virginia Tech, you end up getting drafted, had a stint in the league, D-League, all that.
But hold on, not to cut you off, brother. Can you talk to us a little bit about your draft process? Because I'm sure as the leading scorer in the country, you're hearing all sorts of things about how your draft's gonna go and where you're gonna go. Can you talk to us a little bit about what how that process played out and how you were feeling in the time and all those sorts of things?
Yeah, you know, like when I was coming out, man, they projected me to go middle to late first round. So I was anywhere between like 20 to 30, in between that range. And, you know, my whole mindset was like, I'm about to go first round, thinking that's how it's going to go.
Right.
You know, teams called me back a few times to come work out. So I'm really thinking like I'm about to go, you know, probably to the Spurs, to the Bucks, somewhere in those 20 range. Brooklyn had 22 pick. And, you know, I remember on draft night, I had my family and friends. I did like just a little, you know, casual thing just to keep it simple with my, you know, people who grew up with. And just sitting there, man, honestly, it kind of hurt. Like that first round went by, I'm just like, dang, am I going to get drafted? You know what I mean? The process in your mind, sitting there, just keep waiting. And then, you know, when the 30s came, I'm like, I got to get in the 30s. And it didn't happen. In the 40s, you know, I remember the 43rd pick. One of my homies behind me was like, I guess he got the, you know how they do the early calls on their phone. He's like, yo, you going to Denver you're going to Utah at 46. And I was like, for real? And then they traded me that night to Denver. And I was excited, man, just to get drafted, hear your name called on national TV, man, that's a blessing. So I was excited, but at the same time, I was a little hurt. Like I wanted to be a first-round draft pick.
Right. So after that draft, little stint in the league, little stint in the D-League. I'm sorry to be skipping over all that, but you know show is called EuroSteppin.
Yeah, no question.
So what I want to know and what the people want to know is, the first time you got the news or the opportunity that you was coming to Europe, what was your mindset? How was you feeling? What was you thinking?
Honestly, I was like, hell no, I'm not coming. I'm like Europe, man. I'm not going to Europe. Like, you know what I mean? I just got drafted. I'm like, I play in the league. You know, I ain't going to Europe. I don't even know like Europe basketball. Like, I didn't know Europe basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't really, you know, it wasn't showcased. It wasn't broadcast. And like I said, social media wasn't really booming like that. So I didn't know too much about it. And like when I went over, I'm thinking in my head, I'm about to run this thing up. Yeah. Not knowing like it's a different ball game. Like it's a whole different type of ball game. Like, and my first year I was EuroLeague. I played for Siena. Yeah, so like, you know what I mean? And I remember my first game with CSKA Moscow. And they blasted us. They had Pargo, Sonny Weems, Kozakuvas. They blasted by like 30 at the crib. I had like 5 turnovers because at that time you had to put the ball down before you could go.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So I'm fresh out of college. I'm like, oh, man, like this ain't for me. Like I wanted to go home. I'm not going to lie. After the first month, I was ready to go home. Like I'll just play in the D-League and just earn my way. But, you know, I mean, I feel like you get a lot of respect if you can make it out here. If you can play out here and, you know, handle your business out here, man, you get a lot of respect. Because it's not easy putting up points here. It's not easy being over here by yourself. It's not easy, you know, living over here in a foreign country and, like, adapting to their game, their style, their language, their food, their lifestyle, man. It was hard.
So can you touch on what you were just saying, man? Because there's so many guys that go through that exact same situation. That first month, they're like, that first month, 2 months, they're like, man, I got to get out of here. I can't deal with this, man. What changed? What changed for you?
Honestly, like I got a good support. My family, man. My mom and dad really have been a blessing to me to always stay in my ear. But my mom is like, we don't quit. Like, and that's how I've always been raised. Like, whatever you do, you stick with it, you don't quit. So, you know, I just had to figure it out. And honestly, it was the best thing. I'm glad I didn't quit. I'm glad I didn't go home because I honestly matured a lot. You know, being on your own out there, you know, doing it, you know, playing like that style of basketball, it really helped me mature as a man. Like, you know, I was 21 years old, and then that style of play of basketball helped me like develop a whole new type of game, you know, on the court. So when I did get a chance to go to the NBA that next year, you know, I was a little bit more advanced than some of the rookies. Like I understood the game, like I understood it, like my IQ was a little higher than because they're fresh out of college. And, you know, and I played against physical grown men that some of them guys over there could play in the NBA. They just choose to stay over here overseas. And I think a lot of people don't realize that they make a lot of more money. And also, man, you get to play. There ain't nothing like playing. You don't want to go to the NBA and sit the bench and just be the guy waving the towel for years and years. Like, I want to hoop. You know what I mean? So that was big for me.
When you first came over, let's a little bit away from the basketball court, or maybe it happened on the basketball court. Was there any kind of cultural shock that you experienced that you could tell us about?
Yeah, man. I remember my first time going into my apartment. You know it looks like a urinal, but what is it? Like a
bidet.
Bidet. Okay. So I remember moving into my apartment on the first day. I'm like, oh man, we got urinals. Like we got, you know, we can use this is cool in the crib. So I didn't know nothing about it. So I used that for like a good month. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I used it for like a good month. Like I was like, oh yes, great. We don't have this back home in the crib. So I used that. That was, and then my teammate, fellow Hunter, was like, bro, like, no, that's not what that's used for, right? And I was like, oh, like I didn't know. I never seen one before.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
No one knew. We never knew. None of us knew.
Yeah. And then another culture shock, honestly, man, was like when you go into restaurants. Like, and I was in Siena. If you know Siena, that's a really old town. So no one speaks English.
Right.
So it was like going places. I'm like, oh man, like I gotta speak Italian. I don't know no Italian. I don't even know Spanish. And then I was like, yo, can I use the restroom? And I'm using the bathroom. They got holes in the ground. I'm like, oh, like where the toilets at? Like, you know what I mean?
Like Turkey.
Yeah, like Turkey, yeah. So like, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, yo, where the toilets at? So that was fun. I mean, that was experience, man. And just like the language barrier, like no one speaking English the whole town. Like I'm like, yo, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna get around? The signs are in Italian. Like, you know, I didn't know much. The food didn't taste like American food, so I had to adjust to that. But it was just a whole culture shock for me when I first got over there.
Yeah, man. I think that's what a lot of people that's never been to Europe that think it's that say easy to come over here and play and live and everything. It's a lot more go into it than just basketball.
Facts, 100%.
You know what I mean? I know a lot of great players that just couldn't make it in Europe because of, you know, the culture differences or the food or, you know. I actually know a guy that, I don't know him, but there's a guy who came to play in Turkey once, years ago. And you know the azan, right? The prayer times.
Yeah.
He heard that early in the morning. You know, come on like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning.
5 in the morning, yeah.
He heard that. The next morning, he was out. Went home. Dipped. He dipped. He dipped. Didn't tell nobody, paid for his own ticket and just
rolled out.
I can tell you, man, in my time in Turkey, I just told Dave this story. We had a game. I'm playing for Tribe Zone at the time. And we had a game on Christmas Day. Obviously, it's, you know, primarily a Muslim country. They're not celebrating Christmas. So we got a game on Christmas Day, right? And I'm just after that, we got blown all the way out to a team that wasn't better than us. And I get to the hotel, and for some reason, I'm just like crazy emotional. All I can think about is, why am I not with my family? And what am I doing over here? Like, all this, it just rushed me all in that moment. And so people don't understand all of those fights that you're dealing with internally, right? How have you managed some of those situations for yourself?
Honestly, I look at it as like a bigger picture. You know, I know I'm missing out on, you know, birthdays, you know, holidays and all that, but there's no better feeling. I'm a type of guy, like I love seeing my family and people, my loved ones smile. You know what I mean? I love to give more than I would like to receive. You know what I mean? Like I love to, take care of my family. I have 3 little sisters who I love to see smile and make sure they have everything in the world. And I have a daughter now, so I make sure this is who I do it for. And so when it's hard though, man. Don't get it wrong, man. I miss my daughter all the time. I miss my family all the time.
Yeah.
And but I know, this is all gonna pay off in the long run. The sacrifice of, being over here, making this money. Learning this experience, that I can say when I'm done playing, like you guys can say, man, people can never get to say they got to play, Germany, Russia, Turkey, Spain. Like that's something you can always say in your life. Like, you've been to these places. My mom never got a chance to got on a plane and come over to Europe until I came over here. So for her to say that was a cool experience. But like I know it's, there's a bigger picture. That's how I always tell guys, like the younger guys when they come over, it's gonna suck, it's gonna hurt. Your first time missing birthdays, Christmas, not being with your family. But just think of the bigger picture. Like you get to take care of, your loved ones. You know what I mean? Like this is what we're doing it for. And like I told you, I have a daughter, so this is like my big pictures for her. Making sure that, she, college tuition's paid for. She has everything one day she needs. We don't ever have to struggle. And so that's how I look at it. But I'm 29 right now, and there's still, holidays that, are hard for me. You know what I mean? Like FaceTime's like, it's like, dang, I wish I was there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's gonna happen until it's over. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I did it for 30 years. So
but do you guys miss it?
Miss hooping?
Yeah, y'all miss being there, like
I do. I miss everything about it. Locker room, miss hooping.
For sure.
There's only one thing I don't miss. The
What's
one thing I don't miss is how my body used to feel.
Oh man. Hey, what about them? What about them 2-a-days, man? If you don't know about that European grind, bro, hey, they don't know about that European grind.
I'm gonna tell you another thing I don't miss. The European preseason. It's a killer for a month.
For a month, hey, and you up in the mountains or some place you don't even want to be in, bro. I'd be mad as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't even know, man. See, the food could be nasty as hell too.
Mm-hmm.
Eating the same shit for a whole month. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But they don't. But a lot of people don't know that struggle, that grind.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, you've been in since you've been in Europe, you've been in a couple of countries. I know Spain, Turkey. What other country did you play in?
Greece.
Greece, that's right.
Yeah.
Out of those countries, which one would you say is your favorite as far as living outside of basketball?
I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I've been blessed because I was on the beach in Valencia in Spain, which is beautiful.
You've been really blessed. I mean, you've been in this twice.
Yeah.
You've been in Turkey's
Turkey's amazing. But if I had to pick one, to be honest with you, Greece, man. Like there ain't nothing like, the weather, the beaches, it's like a little Miami out there, mug. So I loved it. Like, you know what I mean? And I had a great group of guys. Like those guys are like my brothers. Them 4 guys that Americans that we had. Those that was probably the closest relationship I've had with a group of guys in my whole career overseas. So that was fun. Greece was definitely fun.
Who did you play with on that team? What 4 guys?
I had Kim Birch, who played for the Magic. Pat Young was at Florida. I had Daniel Hackett, and I had Dominique Waters.
Yeah, I know all of that. I think Kim Birch and the other big guy you said was in Turkey, I think that year before they came to Greece.
Yes, they were. Yeah. Pat Young was at Galatasaray.
Yeah, Pat was at Galatasaray. Yeah. Kim Birch was at a team called Uşak, I think.
Oh, yes. Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
So that was fun, and we made it far. Went to the EuroLeague championship, so that was fun, man. That was the whole experience, and I got to play with a legend, so that was honestly one of the coolest things to play with him. That was dope.
How is it playing with him? Like this guy is considered one of the best point guards in Europe for years. For the people who don't know what we're talking about Spanoulis, right?
Yeah.
So how was it playing with him? Like, is he a point guard?
Yeah, he the real deal. People might not look at it now because he's older, but he still can play being 36, 37 years old. But, I caught him when he was younger. And honestly, man, the way he approaches the game, Like, there's no laughing on the bus. Like, he's dead serious about every game. We win. Like, you know, he tells you there's no losing here at Olympiacos. We win everything we do. So his mentality when I'm fresh, I'm still young, 23, 24 years old. So I'm sitting here like, all right, it's just another game, you know, but like his demeanor, his mentality approaching the game is unbelievable. And, you know, it doesn't matter if he scores 2 points, 20 points. All that matters to him is the win. And, you know, he's such a good point guard passing the ball. His IQ is unbelievable. You know, he's like another coach on the floor. Just, you know, learning from him and, you know, understanding the European game. You know, it was a blessing because, you know, I think he's definitely one of the greatest to ever play the game over here in Europe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That leads us to a question we like to ask everybody on the pod, man. So that's a great player you played with. Can you tell us who out there and all these big clubs you played for and all these big games and big moments you've been in, who out there, and you done gave your fair share of buckets out, who cooked you?
I ain't gonna say this. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't never been cooked, but I've had someone go at me, like really go at me, and I was just like, oh, okay, shit. I ain't never been like embarrassingly cooked, but I gotta say, there's two people who I had a good matchup with that I enjoyed. Mike James, when I was Olympiacos, he was with Panathinaikos.
Yep.
That was fun because we go for scores and go at each other. And you know, one of my favorite Europeans, you know, he's still playing, is, you know, DeColo.
Yeah.
Nando DeColo. And people, you know, he's smooth, man. He's so smooth, and the way he can score that mug.
This year.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for that matchup. Oh, I'm ready for that one. Yeah, I can't wait. I like competition, man. I'm all about it. But, you know, he's one of the best, they say, in Europe. You know what I mean? So, you know, he's fun. He was fun. And then also I've got one, Sergio Yul.
Sergio's nice, yeah.
Yeah. You know, as we talk about Europeans, man, that dude can play. He can really play. So those are some guys, man, I like to go up against.
The misconception that a lot of, I could say us Americans, because I know I used to be in that same boat as far as, let's say Europeans get drafted to the NBA. We don't know him. We just think, oh, man, this dude European. How does he get drafted? So our mindset when we first come over here is like, there's a bunch of Europeans over here. I'm about to do what I do work.
Yeah, right.
Dudes are can't do what I do. But once you get here, you figure out these guys can play. They can play, and they all can shoot.
Facts.
Yeah.
Shoot the blood out of the ball. Ain't got a high IQ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's very true. That's very, very true.
Tell me this, Eric. Who's the one dude who just, or two, however many you want to name, but that just kind of irritated the hell out of you, and you know, some of those little scrappy dudes, they all up in you, maybe a little dirty. Who's the dude who just pushed you to just cooking him?
I ain't gonna lie, you know, a little annoying, but who? Capazzo from Madrid.
Yeah.
Oh man, he can boogie, but he a little scrappy. He just gets under. He's so small. He gets under you, nags you, grabbing you. You know, Europeans, man, they grab you and play. You know what I mean? They be fouling. Yeah, they do that a lot. He was one. I'm trying to think of another one. I can't really think of another one off the top of my head. That just was just annoying. The dude from Red Star. I can't think of his name, but this little guard, he is annoying. He's a pest. Like, he was annoying as hell too. Like, they just get underneath of you physically, you know what I mean? Because they're not like athletic as us, you know what I mean? They're not super fast like us, but you know, they got to find ways to stop us, and they're strong, physical. Definitely Serbians, man. They strong, big as hell.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, but like you said, man, like, people don't know a lot about European guys who are getting drafted who are coming over here. But I tell kids nowadays, man, you got to think there's 60 spots in the draft. Nowadays, there's probably like 8 to 10 are European, maybe more than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you going about 50, maybe 40, some to 50 are Americans. And, you know, these guys can really hoop. Like, these guys ain't no bluffs coming over here. Like Luka Doncic, I told people that before he even got over there, he was the real deal. You know what I mean? People were like, who, Luka, who? I'm like, bro, just trust me. Like, he can really play. You know what I mean? And I like the kid coming out this year, the Kellen from France.
Yeah.
Oh, Kellen played in Germany last year. He's nice.
Yeah, played in Germany. Yeah,
like, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, these guys can really, they're 18. Yeah. And people don't understand, like, these guys are 15, 16 playing against pros. You know what I mean? We didn't have that. You know what I mean? We're playing against high school kids. These guys are playing against grown men, being around grown men, maturing more faster than what we are. So they're ready. They're more ready than what we are coming out. And so, like, these people got to wake up. Like, Europe is definitely one of the spots where these NBA people are coming over and trying to get these young kids. And because now it's about potential. They're looking at young talent and stuff like that. So and there's a lot of that over here in Europe.
Yeah, that's the difference with Europe, because, you know, they start off playing professionally at, like you said, 15, 16 years old.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
15, 16 years old, I mean, basketball probably wasn't even the first thing on our mind, you know, at that time.
We go to school having fun, you know what I mean? Like, that's not, for sure.
All right, Erick, we've all experienced a lot being over here in Europe. What was do you have any stories about one of your, let's say, craziest things you experienced or seen while being in these countries? If you got more than one story, feel free to share. I mean, you know, we like hearing these different stories that people go through while being over here.
I got one. I got a good one. We played, so I don't know if you guys know about the rivalry of Olympiacos and Panathinaikos in Greece. Yeah. So, you know, this one made World Star. This was crazy. So we was playing in a game. We was playing in Game 7 of the Greek Championship. And as you know, Olympiacos at that time, we won like 4 in a row at the time. So, you know, we was expected to win it. And they had Mike James, Nick Kalaitis, Chris Singleton. They had a squad. So we're playing the game. The last 2 minutes, they realized, like, we're not going to win. We're at our home court. So they start shooting off flare guns in the middle of the, you know what I mean? Like, start lighting things on fire. The fans are trying to jump over, you know, the little fan section to try to attack Panathinaikos, the players. The fans are beating the police officers up, like jumping the police officers, like jumping over the thing, trying to get to the players. The players, like, run into the tunnel to try to get them. The fans are running into the tunnel to try to attack them. Like, and I'm sitting, and this is all on the court, and I'm just sitting on the court in the middle of the court, like, what in the hell is going on? Like, I ain't never seen some stuff like that. Like, they had the court, like, the gym was on fire. You know, the fans lighting the flares and the fires in the stands. You know, they're smoking cigarettes all in the stands. So there's like big clouds of smoke all over the place. Fans jumping, trying, you know, attacking the police officers. Because, you know, police officers had the shields. Mm-hmm. And we used to play with the net around us. Yeah. So they couldn't throw things. Yeah, so they couldn't throw things at us. And so that was probably one of the craziest things. I've never seen, like, flares shoot over top, like, right over my head during the middle of a game. We had to stop the game in the last 3 minutes, and they had to exit all the fans out. And the fans were fighting the police officers, stuff like that. They were waiting for the Panathinaikos players after the game, you know. So we had to wait like an hour so we could leave the gym after the game. That was probably one of the craziest things. And then we was in Turkey. We played, I think, Galatasaray when they had Carlos Soroya. I forgot big fella name. Man, I can't think.
Erwin Dudley was probably on the team.
Yeah, all of them do. Yeah, all of them do. So they were on there. So we're coming out the tunnel, and you know, the police officers have the shields.
Right. Yeah.
So, and then, you know, on your bench you have the shield over your bench. Yeah. And you know, I mean, so we're up, we're winning, and one of our players hit a shot. You know, he taunts the crowd. So they start throwing sodas, beer things on top of the shield thing, quarters on the court. And this is like, I'm in Siena, Italy, so this is my first year overseas. And I'm sitting there like, what in the hell? Like, you know what I mean? They're calling it, you know what I mean? So they calling us crazy names and stuff. I'm like, yo, what in the hell? Like, where am I at? Like, you know what I mean? So, like, getting thrown, like, drinks and, you know, coins and, you know, food and stuff on the court at us, I was kind of like, eye-opener. I'm like, yo, like, I ain't used to this. You know what I mean? But those were some two cool stories. I was like, wow, this is different out here.
You brought that story up, man. I really forgot about this. During my first year in Europe, I had a 3-month stint in Croatia. Mm-hmm. And we was playing a team that we needed to win that game. It was an important game for us. Anyway, we end up losing the game. And I hear my head coach from the bench just yell out, "Fight!" I'm looking around. This nigga, fight? And And I just see all my team, all the Croatian players just go start hitting other teams. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, they roughing. Me and my other American teammate, because at that time, we're going to have 2 foreigners.
2, yeah.
So
the limit.
We looking like, yo, what the fuck is going on in here? What's happening? Like, I mean, it's an all-out brawl between the teams. Us and the other Americans, we was just looking like in shock.
Right.
What is going on? These niggas really fighting.
Right, yeah. And it ain't it's not like America where they can just stop it. They gonna let you brawl for a little bit. Yeah, let you brawl.
Some blood.
Yeah, it's life or death out there. I was just like, yo, this shit out here is crazy.
Yeah.
But it make you appreciate Europe, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like I really enjoy this, and I really like, you know, I when people talk bad about Europe, I'm just like, maybe not every situation is great. I get it. But, you know what I mean? It's a blessing to be able to play ball and see the world and be able to experience all this. So, you know what I mean? It's something you can soak in and learn. And, you know, one day we can all tell stories like y'all are telling stories, you know what I mean? Like, reminisce about the good times like that. So, that's dope.
I always look at Europe, man. I tell people when they ask, you know, did I enjoy my time playing in Europe? I tell people, I'm like, man, I look at it like this. I got paid to play basketball and see the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have, you know, I've just been stuck in America like a lot of other of us, you know what I mean? Like, I might have been just stuck in Houston, not seeing nothing.
To that point, I can tell you there was a time, man, my early years, I played in Israel. And I remember calling my mom and saying, Mom, tonight we got a game and we play against Galil. I said, Mom, this is Galilee from the Bible. Like, I'm in Galilee. Like,
crazy.
Like, what? You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's a tremendous blessing, man. And it's dope to hear you tell your stories and see the smile on your face and know that the fact that you're enjoying it is genuine. So I love hearing that, man.
It opens up your mind, too. So a lot of stuff they don't teach us in America.
Mm-hmm. For sure, 100%. 100%. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Is there any other stories you want to tell us, man? Is there any other thing you want to share before we let you go, man?
I can't think of the top of my head about story, but just to the young guys, man. The young guys see this, man. Just, you know, I know, you know, some of the things, you know, the food, the living situations, all that. We don't all start at the EuroLeague, Euro Cup level.
No.
You know what I mean? We don't all start there, man. Some people got to start lower, and it's a grind. Don't give up on that grind. You know what I mean? Because like you said, they like for real, like, man, we get paid to do what we love. You know what I mean? Like, and you get to see the world. You get to travel and see the world, even if it's a 12-hour bus ride. Man, you would never get a chance to go see Israel, Russia, Germany, Turkey. You know what I mean? Wherever country, you know, you go. Like, it's a trip. Like you said, it's a blessing, man. When I go home in the summer, people ask me all the time, like, bro, you played in Russia? Like, what's Russia like? Like, what's this like? What's that like? And I'm like, in my head at the time, I'm like, man, Russia was cold as hell. You know what I mean? Like, it was dark. It was terrible. You know what I mean? But then it's like when you really get out there and go like sightseeing and go, like, I'm in Venice, man. Venice is beautiful. There's on the water. You got the boats.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, man, you see that. I only learned about that in history class. When you saw that shit on the projector screen, you know what I mean? And like, now I get to tell my little sister, like, yo, look at the pictures. Look at all this. Like, it's dope.
Like, man, how was it over there? How I was like, man, I've swam in the Mediterranean Sea.
Right. Yeah. That's crazy, right?
That shit crazy. Like, I never not even see the Mediterranean Sea.
Fact. Yeah.
Hey, man, we appreciate your time, man. I know we know you got a game tomorrow. By the way, good luck on your game.
I appreciate it.
Hope y'all come out of that victorious and you're able to get a lot of buckets as usual.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you.
But for the people who's watching the show who you know want to check in on you, follow you, how can they follow you on Twitter, Instagram? What's your handles?
Instagram. Just type in Erick Green and I'll show up, man. I always, you know, I got a new thing. I'm with Overseas Fits, this thing that's also doing something about overseas basketball. And I just post a little something.
I think we following y'all right now. That's you?
No, it's not me. It's a friend of mine named Kelvin. He's the head of it. But he got 3 or 4 people, who's like, doing it, and I'm one of them that's, recording things, showing about my life and my, adventures. I just posted something actually yesterday, like kind of like a weekend of a life, like a road trip, how we doing things, how we travel and stuff like that. So I'm going to do more of that probably in December, another one. And I just show people, from America, like how we living over here, what we doing, and what's it like, so people can keep up and follow me.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons we got this podcast, man, so we can educate people on what we're doing over here, the lifestyle, the culture differences, everything. All the stories, what people go through, because, the questions that we get asked when we go home, all they got to do is just watch this. Different perspective from everyone.
This is dope, man. I appreciate y'all having me on here. This is awesome. If there's anything I can ever do to help, man, let me know. I'd love to. This is awesome for real, man. This is dope what y'all doing.
Man, we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming on. So thanks for joining EuroSteppin Podcast. Catch us on everything. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. That's EuroSteppin Podcast. No G.
We got all the game.
Thought it was a joke, what they still playing games for? Holes in my denim, never holes in my game, no. You won't be just like me, they don't love you the same, no. The series 3-0, and I'm back home for game 4 right now. Say goodnight now, this is mine. Funny how them shots all at my head.